You found the Live Local Marketing Podcast, where business owners share their knowledge about what's working in the market today. No fluff, just their experiences and stories from people who are making it happen. And if authentic, practical marketing resonates with you, be sure to visit livelocalwarmmarketing.com and learn to grow your business on warm marketing referrals. Now, on to the show. Thanks for joining us here with Live Local Warm Marketing Podcast. We're here with Louise. Ma'am, how do we feel today?
I feel great. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. All right, a little bit of background about Louise, and then we'll get right into our questions. For over 30 years, Louise has owned Last Research and Editing. Before that, she worked in the journalism field after graduating from the University of Maryland of Journalism in 1989. She has written and edited blogs, web content, press releases, newsletters, SEO content, manuscripts for fiction and nonfiction, and she writes for online and print publications. Her work has appeared in numerous print and online publications. She has interned with a television station and wrote for a radio wire service. In 2006, she published her first fiction novel, The 1776 Scroll, and then her second novel, The 1776 Inn, was in 2010. So lots of experience coming at us today and lots of great journalism and insights. So, ma'am, are you ready for the questions?
We are ready.
Awesome. Let's do this. As an entrepreneur, what would you consider your first win to be?
Well, it actually was probably my first foray into my own business. I was actually unemployed at the time, and I was looking for a job. And back then, you had to actually go to job boards. You couldn't look it up on a computer. So I went to the University of Maryland's job board, and there was a post there for an assistant editor, but she couldn't hire me full time. So she hired me on a freelance basis. And that's how I started my business. So that's my first win. But what was great about it is she used to refer me to other people. So I was also, she would connect me with all these other magazine editors that needed my help as well. So it worked that way.
Was there a lot of, like, you hear the word freelance with journalism and writing, that seems like everybody pictures that in their head. Is that a true representation, that usually you start with a freelance and then work your way into a full-time job?
Yes. And that is actually how I did it. I had a full-time job and I was doing my freelance business. But then we had to move across the country from Maryland to Arizona, and I needed a way to keep working while we were moving. And so then I flipped it. So then I was working full-time as my freelance and part-time in a brick and mortar business.
So of all the gigs you've done, what was the favorite? What one do you really, really loved and enjoyed the most?
Well, probably my fiction, but
Nice.
I would also say that I really enjoyed doing environmental newsletters, because I like the environment, and and there's a lot of myths out there. So I've learned a lot when I was working as the environmental newsletter editor.
Wow. So, was that in Arizona as well, or is that just anywhere?
Well, it's both. I started in Maryland, and then I went to freelance, but it was the same company, but they allowed me to freelance. So then I did it in Arizona too.
Gotcha. With all of your experiences, what do you believe your best habit is?
I would say being consistent. One thing that I see from a lot of small business owners is they are not focused enough to do something consistently. They're all over the place. And when you don't focus your marketing and you're not consistent with your marketing, you don't actually get any, and things don't work the way they're supposed to work. So I would recommend people to be focused. Even if you have more than one business, you can focus your marketing and be consistent with your marketing.
How do you work that fine line between I'm trying new things to see what works and then staying consistent and focused? Like, where does that fine line end?
That it is a fine line, but if you're disciplined, then you'll use those same attributes that you use in the first, then into the new venture that you're trying. They will you still be consistent because you're still doing the same habits and the same routine. You're just doing a different avenue or medium.
How long do you, let's say, for trying new stuff out? Because you've done a lot of different things. So you must have been experimenting and trying new things. Like, what advice would you say? How long do you give it before you either commit fully and that's the only thing you do, or give up on it and move on?
I would say give it to a whole year,
Okay.
because things don't happen right away, especially with like SEO. Um, you have to give it time to produce the results that you want. And a lot of people that I meet, they want to get the results within a month. Well, that's not necessarily going to happen. So I would a whole year, but then at the end of the year, if you're still not getting the results that you want, then maybe it didn't work and try something new the next year.
Got it. That's long. That's good. That's a lot of patience. That's excellent answer. Of all the marketing strategies and so forth that you do now with your clients and so forth, what is your favorite marketing strategy? Welcome to a quick break before we get to that next answer, because I know that answer is going to be brilliant, which is why I chose this moment to interrupt. If you love what you're seeing and you want to run your business off of warm marketing referrals, visit our website, livelocalwarmmarketing.com. It's got valuable resources, office hours, memberships, the book, an array of resources to help you get rid of cold calls, cold leads, door knocking, and run a business you can be proud of through referrals and warm marketing. Now, back to the show.
I always tell my clients that they need to be balanced marketing. They need
Oh,
to not just do one thing, not just do social media, not just do YouTube, not just do uh, press releases. They have to actually balance everything, because you never know where your next sales is coming from. So you have to be out there in as many ways as possible, such as a podcast. And
that's right. Good reference. I like that. That's perfect. But how many is too many? Like, you view all the things. I mean, there's like, I don't
yeah,
know,
if
20.
you do all the things, you don't have enough time. But if you do a sampling of each kind of thing, then it'll work. But if you, so you don't want to do too few, but you also don't want to overload yourself either.
I always tell my clients there's an element of fun involved. Like, you have to actually, and it can't always be broccoli.
Yeah.
When you talk to your clients about all the different things, what do you tell them about which ones they should choose?
I do actually tell them to choose the ones that they think they can do the best, and that the ones that they'll have the most fun doing. If they're afraid of video, I don't push them into it. Try to, I still want them to do video, but I try to, get it, ease them into it. If and then the same with something like a podcast. If they're afraid to do it, then they have to be eased into it. But most of the time, the resistance I actually get is print. They don't think they need to do print
Really?
anymore, and I have to explain why they still need to do print.
Well, explain it to us too. Why do we need to still do print? I want to know.
Okay, so the easiest way I can explain it is, if McDonald's didn't see that print would work, McDonald's wouldn't do it. And
Hmm.
you see billboards with McDonald's, you see press releases from McDonald's, you see commercials. That's video, but um, McDonald's is everywhere. And if
Yes.
it wasn't making McDonald's money, McDonald's wouldn't do it. So, but the main reason is that there are different audiences. And certain audiences, people older than me, will only read. They will not
Yes.
watch TV. Or so you, to capture them, especially if you're selling Medicare, you need to do something where they are. So they're looking in magazines. They are watching TV, the old stations. They are not on TikTok. They're not in Facebook. So so that's really what a good marketing strategy is. You know where your audience is,
Yeah.
and you work to that.
Got it. Got it. That makes complete sense. So you said video marketing. You said sometimes it's kind of intimidating, sometimes scared, sometimes you got to work them into it. How do you incorporate video marketing into with your clients when you're doing press release and editing and all the writing?
Well, for me, I use YouTube and podcasting. Those
Got
are
it.
my two broadcast media that I use. For my clients, especially my book clients, I try to get them to also use YouTube. And again, some of them are afraid to do it. Some of them, they just don't know things, how anything on the computer, and they're afraid of any kind of technology. And honestly, it frustrates me a lot, because I know that video is a strong way to get people to buy books. And then there's people like, I have a chef who's dyslexic, and she actually enjoys doing the videos, but she doesn't have any help to, record while she's cooking, and I can't do that. So that's really some of the issues that I have, is either they're afraid and I have to try to ease them into it, like be on camera with them, or they just don't have any help to do it and they don't know how to get that help. So it's a
if I'm
trial
writing a
and error
book,
type of thing. Huh?
if I'm writing a book and I'm going to make videos, what kind of videos should I be making to push my book?
It depends on the book. And my chef's client, my client who's a chef, her case, I told her, to cook something, because that's the best way to sell a cookbook, is just to make the recipes that are actually in the book. But I also I have a client who wrote about discrimination in the employment venue. And for him, I said that, okay, what we should do is I could ask you questions about certain different things that are in your book, and then sort of do a Q&A type of video. So it depends on what kind of book you're actually doing. I'm working on a book about AI. So that would be more technology driven. And so you would want to do videos that have AI, that are used by AI. I mean, done by AI. And then for fiction, trailers probably work the best for fiction, but not every videographer knows how to do a book trailer.
Yeah, those aren't as easy.
No.
Nice. Well, that's some good examples. And some of those I would never even thought of. That's excellent. All right, so we're moving into the next one. So branding. So you have a book and people bring the book to you, right? How do you draw the content, the theme, to create a marketing brand around that book?
A lot of it comes from the actual book itself. Like I was saying about it's a cookbook. So, and her latest one was, the very first one was the dressing table, and she named it that, and she had a lot of reasons why she named it that. But then I, being someone who plays with words, I saw the play in calling a cookbook the dressing table, so I wrote about that. And then we had, for each one, we just kept the dressing table theme to make her brand. But also part of her brand is that cooking is a love language. So, and she told me that over and over again. So I made that part of the brand as well. So it's the dressing table and cooking as a love language. And now for technology, again, if it's about AI or if it's about virtual, then that becomes the brand. But a lot of times it's in the book itself as to what the brand is. The current one that I'm doing is Master Your Sales Call, and she's an expert in sales. So that one's a business book, but it's also the narrow focus of how to get more sales and more revenue. So that becomes her brand. So the topic tends to present itself. Now on fiction, it's a little harder to come up with a brand. And that's, for my books, they're all the 1776 series, partly because they're all set in Philadelphia, partly because they all have a connection to the Revolutionary War, and partly because I knew that I needed a hook to make my fiction different from other romance novels that are out there. So that's how I came up with my brand.
Do you help them niche down to the point where, like, you're helping them pick, like, colors and like marketing scripts and things, because the wording has to match the books, because you can't be that disconnect where the
Yes,
language
I
is
do
such
help
different.
them with the scripts and the wording and what
Okay,
to put on email marketing. I don't really help them with the colors. Whatever colors
gotcha.
they want, I just say, okay. And the book cover designer usually comes up with ideas for colors, and the author is usually for it or against it, and then I work
I got you.
as a mediator.
Gotcha.
But
You step it out, but because even the language you use in the marketing has to be very specific that comes with the book. So that's even,
yeah,
I'm sure, a challenge, and you could use a lot of consulting like yourself for that.
right.
Yeah.
And
Um, Good.
well, again, it comes from when I'm actually reading through the book. A lot of that ideas come to mind too. So,
Gotcha. Do you find yourself like taking notes as you read these books and like a lot of like jotting stuff down?
well, other authors do. I don't, because I tend to remember a lot. It's
Oh,
one of
okay.
the gifts. My dad could read something and remember it almost verbatim, and I have his brain. I can read something once and remember what was in it, and that helps me. So, so I will have ideas in my head, and I will put the ideas down as notes, but I tend to already figure out what I'm supposed to do. But
Borrow that.
not everybody can do that. So
I'm
other
going
ones.
to borrow that brain. I was going to say I need to borrow that brain because my memory is garbage. So I wish I had some of that. So the next question, we're going to pivot a little bit. I'm fascinated in the answer because of your experience and so forth. You've been through a lot of things. You've seen a lot of stuff. What is right now your favorite use of AI, and how are you handling that in your industry?
For me, I know that there's a lot of still controversy over it, and I'm not against it because I know it does help. So for me, I use it sparingly, mostly as a way to generate ideas,
Gotcha.
especially if I'm stuck on some kind of press release or a email marketing. If I'm stuck, then AI can help me get started, and then I can write something. But I know I don't want to like write an entire book. And actually, Amazon it will block you if you have an entire book written by AI. And so it is. You have to be cautious about how much you use it and when you use it.
So it's mostly like a brainstorming tool for you. Like it's just to
Yes,
help you jog a memory. It's kind of like a team meeting if you had a
right.
staff to sit around and
Yeah.
okay. Okay. So do you train it in your own, like have you trained it at all, like to think like you, or any of your ideas or any of those things to help you
No, I
with those ideas?
haven't, and I know that's
Okay.
very possible because I have a few colleagues who do that for regular for business. It's just not something I ever learned, and
Mhm.
so I
No,
just do what
that's
I know.
nope. Do you ever use it for like fact checking or information checking with some of the fiction novels and so forth that you are in
Sometimes,
charge of?
yes.
So
Yeah.
it'll like give you the sources and stuff, or give you marketing
Yes.
ideas and things like that.
Yes.
Gotcha. Which one do you use? I'm just kind of curious now.
Well, I've used Grammarly, and um, I I've used the Gemini on
Gemini.
Google.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think they're the only two. I have, I've heard of other ones like Chat GPT, but I've just never used it.
It's-
And
no.
I've used the LinkedIn one, and I've used
Yeah.
various social media software. I've used the AI that they provide with the software. So,
Gotcha. So sparingly, just to kind of poke every once in a while. Like I even find
right.
myself sometimes tired, and I'm like, "Hey, you need to give me 3 ideas. I'm beat. It's been a long day. I need a few little tips." So yeah, I completely agree with you. So let's talk about the folks that have an idea of a book, or maybe they're starting to do a book, and they just don't have the confidence to sit down with somebody like yourself
And they
and
seem
take
to
that next
come
step.
to me like magnets. I don't know why I always get the high anxiety clients.
That's funny. Calming.
And
You're a very calming personality.
I think that is the reason, because, and I do a lot of hand holding. Part of sometimes I'm not just an editor, but I'm a coach as well. And I have to
Yeah.
explain to them why I think something should be in or something should not be in. And again, if they don't know the process, then I'm walking them through the process and hand holding them. But if they have a lot of anxiety, then I have to, calm them down and say, this is how it is. And trust me, I've been doing this for so long, and
Mhm.
I get a little upset when I have to prove that I have to have them trust me. It's like, okay, you hired me, let me do my job. you know?
Yeah. Just let me do the thing. Do you do
But
free consultations where you'll sit down and like if they
yeah,
have a start of an
I
idea and be
always
like, hey, I
do.
think that could work? Okay.
Yeah, I always give a free consultation, and I always, when they explain their project, I tell them whether it would work or not. Memoirs, for example, are very hard to sell, so I try to tell them to stay away from a memoir. You can write your story by relating it to other people. So, like, if they have a story about recovering from cancer and they had they used some kind of treatment that was new, and talk about the treatment, not how you felt about the treatment. You can still work your story in. It's just that nobody cares about you. They don't know who you are. So they care about the result. So I
There's
usually
ways.
tell them,
Yeah,
and then
there's
I'll
definitely
tell
ways
them,
of bringing.
there'll be times when I'll have to say, look, I don't think I can do this for you. This is not my wheelhouse. And then I'll either refer them to another editor, or they'll be so mad at me that they'll just stop calling, and I won't care because I'm not going to do anything anyway.
A good fit is a good fit, no matter how. So you gotta let some people go. That is wonderful. Your experience, all the years you've been doing this is very awesome. It's amazing, especially for these folks that are watching now. They're thinking about a book or how to make a book fit in their business. It's somebody you're the type of person they should sit down with. So if you can talk about your business and then where people can get a hold of you, and then we'll let you go.
All right. So Last Research and Editing has been around since 1992, and I do all forms of editing, marketing, and writing. And you can get a hold of me. First, you can visit my website, www.lastresearchandediting.com. I also have Christian marketing experts, so you can go to christianmarketingexperts.com. To pick up my books, go to amazon.com/author/Louise Harris. If you are interested in a manuscript, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur and you want to have that as a marketing tool, because it can be a good marketing tool, get in touch with me with either phone or email, and I'd be happy to talk to you for a free consultation. Thank you.
That is wonderful. That's wonderful. Your experience, and of course, you are calming. I'm the people you get that you attract, the high end ones. Like, yeah, I can feel the calming voice. So be sure you reach out and set up a time to talk about your book with Louise, and we appreciate your time today.